Hello, I'm Willie Stevens.
And I'm Brandy Stevens.
And welcome to the Journey of Us podcast.
So welcome back to the Journey of Us, episode 2. And today we're going to talk about our wedding and the early years.
Okay. So
Yes,
the wedding.
The wedding. Do you even remember?
I remember the white suit.
You did have on a white suit.
And I was real dark. So nothing else, I do remember that.
So what was that day like for you?
Well, it wasn't as, I guess, nerve-wracking as people may tell a person that it would be. It wasn't that for me. I felt like, okay, well, about to get married, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah.
I didn't have any jitters or anything like that, like some people say they have.
Okay, before we get into the actual day and all of that, what you do the night before with your boys?
This is what we did. If I'm not mistaken, I think we rented a hotel
Okay.
and we sat in the hotel playing games, playing Madden. That's all we did. First of all, we broke, but it can't do too much, and we're in Bastrop, so there's not too much going on
Okay.
because we ain't going to the townhouse, so. Anyway, that's a club down there.
Okay. I would say for me, the day of, I remember waking up. I don't know who house. I was at somebody's house.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Felicia's house. It feels like I was at her house. Everybody was over there. I mean, it was so long ago, so it's hard to recall those details. But I remember being hungry because we had been up late talking and having a good time. And I wanted some Popeye's chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got some Popeye's chicken, and I wasn't nervous, but I just remember thinking, okay, today's going to be a good day, and it's going to be all right. I was just trying really hard not to be sad because I knew that people would bring up my dad and talk about this. Of course, missed him for that day. I miss him all the time, but those are pivotal moments. So I was trying not to get overwhelmed in that, but just remain focused on the happiness that was on the other side.
Okay. Because if I'm not mistaken, you did not have a wedding on your first time around, did you?
No, it was just a few people, and it wasn't like the full pomp and circumstance of the days.
So ideally, you wanted to actually have this expensive wedding.
It was not expensive.
To us at the time, it was very expensive.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, this is what I remember about our wedding.
What?
I remember being frustrated with you because you had me rent some columns from that rental place and we didn't use them.
Why didn't we use them?
I don't know. I didn't have much money and I was thinking, wasting money on those columns.
I don't even remember that. I remember there should have been columns. And I remember going to the place and picking them out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe we had too many. I don't know. I just know there were 2 extra columns that I paid for.
And we didn't use them. I never knew that.
Some things you keep to yourself.
So that day, it was a beautiful day. It was what it was. Family and friends surrounded us, and family and friends really came together to help us put this thing on.
Yeah, they did.
From your mom to Sister Lynn, my cousins, people really pulled together to help us kind of bring that to life. So, what? I know what you're about to say.
I'm not going to say it, but I will say, this is what I will say.
What?
Is that
we got to put context to it, though. There was an event during the wedding that he did not necessarily appreciate, right?
Well, I appreciated it, just didn't enjoy it. It almost made me ask for some divorce papers.
Before we got married?
Yeah, right afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
But we're not going to say what that was because
That's right.
that person may be watching.
But all in all, it was a really nice day.
It was.
Yeah. Would there be anything that you would do differently, or what would you do the same?
I think that I would pretty much do everything the exact same way that we did it. We worked on a very limited budget. I remember having to borrow a few dollars to actually get it done. But ultimately, I look back at those days and understand that those were the formative years, and I wouldn't change anything because if I change one thing, it may affect something else. And so I would keep everything the exact same way, other than
I was going to
those
say even.
columns.
Oh, the columns?
Yeah,
What about the other thing?
And I probably would not ask that to assist.
Okay. I'll keep everything the same. So I just feel like it was what it was. We did what we could with what we had at that time. I enjoyed it. I felt beautiful, and yeah, I enjoy being with family and friends.
Fun fact, that's the first and last time I ever wore white shoes.
Really?
White dress shoes. Never worn them before that. And I will never wear them after
Do people wear white dress shoes nowadays? The young people?
I have no idea. It looked like I was about to
second
perform.
line?
Like I'm about to perform with them white shoes on. But I'll never do it again.
Yeah. When we do our vow renewal, which I would like to do at 20 years on the beach somewhere, you're just having a nice linen something.
Okay.
No white shoes though.
But it'd be white, maybe some flip-flops or something.
If that's what you want.
Yeah, we're on the beach, you may as well.
Yeah. Or barefoot.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Okay. Y'all heard that. Okay, so we will kind of move into the early years. After we got married, let me set the scene. We got married July 26th. On that Monday, we were moving to Baton Rouge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
We found the apartment, I think, that weekend before.
Yes. We didn't even have a true honeymoon. We just stayed at a hotel a couple nights in Monroe.
Yeah.
And then we packed up and we moved to Baton Rouge a couple of days later.
That was it. That's all we can afford.
So right there, we were moved in to Sherwood Acres
Yes.
on Coursey into that apartment complex. 2-bedroom, first floor, no washer, no dryer.
Struggle love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
struggle of. During that time, I can remember, it seemed like the longest 2 months of my life, but I left my job at the DA's office in Morehouse Parish right before we got married. And then I had put fillers out, but I just didn't find anything. And that was just the hardest 2 months of my life. When I look back at it now, of course, it was only 2 months, but during that time, we needed some money.
Yeah.
You had a job, you were working at Conn's.
Yeah, I was working at Conn's, and that's before even law school started.
That's true.
And so I was working at Conn's, and since that's a sales job, you never know what you're going to make. And so, it was difficult, very, very difficult. And I think a lot of people don't understand that in most cases is a part of the initial process.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through things, and that's what we had to go through.
Yeah, so we really had to learn just how to kind of lean and depend on each other. So just kind of navigating, getting Trey into school and not knowing
And, it's
anybody,
expensive.
not really knowing anybody in town and trying to figure out doctors and school and how you're going to get them back and forth and, how me even getting a job. But I know a lot of people go through that.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got the job a couple months later. We moved in July. I don't think you got into law school. It was the next year.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Sure
2009.
was. Because I think I applied in August. I think open enrollment was towards the end of the year. And so we moved there into the apartment around July or earlier.
August.
And then we waited until the beginning of the year when I can actually apply for law school.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we started back in the fall. That's when I started law school.
Law school, working part-time. That was Centos?
Yes, working part-time there.
What exactly did you do there? You was just driving the trucks?
Well, I was driving the trucks and I was taking uniforms and mats and things like that to companies for their employees. But that's pretty much what it was, being in a hot truck all day and dealing with that's filthy clothing and towels from restaurants and all that. And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
I hated it. I did.
I remember, but you did it. It was what we needed. I remember earlier on, I would be off on weekends, so it would just be me and Trey. And so I really, wanted you to be home, but I knew that you had to work. So we couldn't do much, so we would go to the library every weekend, get him some little books or rent some little videos that he could watch. We do that every weekend. That was just our little routine. I'll get up and I clean. Fun fact, y'all, it's not a fun fact. I never liked to clean on the weekends, but I knew that that's what you do. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and I will say I did not know up until that time that you can rent movies from the library.
And that was some of the things that we did too. Like you remember we would watch House? We would get House. We would like rent them from the, because we had no money to go to the movies and we didn't have money to even rent. So we just got that stuff from the library.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with our time. Pop us a little popcorn or whatever, eat a sandwich or something, and just make the best of it. I would take Trey to the park a lot too.
So let me ask you this. How did you deal with not having much money?
Before we got married, I didn't have much money. I was accustomed to being able to like get my nails done, or, you know, I did my own hair because I've always been able to do my own hair. But being able to get a shirt every now and again or something, and I know that was something that came up with us. It's like, man, I can't even go get a little $15 shirt from Cato's. But at that point, you know, the family was the priority. And so it's like, Brandon, do you want to eat or do you want to get this shirt? So what's most important? So, I mean, how did I deal with it? I just
Dealt with it.
I did.
I distinctly remember looking around trying to give blood so that we can get that $25 they were giving for giving our blood so that we can have gas money, things
Yeah.
like that. And so I
Yeah.
remember those were the formative years, the hard times, but I look back on them with a lot of joy now because I understand that, you know, that's what made us into who we are now. We refuse to quit now because of those difficult times we had back then.
Yeah. Those were the early years. Struggle.
Yeah.
But eventually, like, you came through and you finished law school. And so the thing about that, though, is like when you get your postgraduate degree or whatever the case may be, or when you get your first degree, I don't know what it is, or maybe it's just me. People feel like, you know,
You're
all
rich.
of a sudden you're successful, or
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have everything that you need. But that document or those credentials don't automatically mean that you're going to get this six-figure or seven-figure job. But I did know we experienced that, like, after you finish law school, things started to shift in people's perspective of you. But the
Yes.
money for us
Did not start at
shift.
that time.
No.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I do remember people just assuming that we're rolling in the dough and we were barely making it. They saw that we had maybe a nicer vehicle at the time. They saw that we lived in a better apartment complex at the time, but we were still struggling paycheck to paycheck, just like they were. It's just that the perception of us changed, or the perception of me changed,
Yeah.
because they felt as if, oh, okay, well, you're a lawyer. That's what this means. At that time, I wasn't even the lawyer,
Yeah.
because I had to go take the bar and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, initially, I did not even pass the bar.
Mm-hmm.
The first year, I did not take it because I thought we were going to move to Texas. And then the second opportunity to take it, I really didn't study because I was trying to work full time along with that, and I did not pass it. And then the second time, I almost passed it, but I did not actually put in the work that I needed to because I was trying to work.
Yeah.
And so that was very difficult for me. And then, you know, having people calling you, oh, did you pass and all that. And so that was very, very difficult early on. I do know that we ended up creating a plan together where I did not have to work, I think, the last month and a half or 2 months before the bar exam, so I can focus on the bar exam. And then when we did that, created a plan together versus me trying to do it on my own, then I passed it.
Yeah. That was hard to kind of watch you go through that. And I didn't know how to support you. I didn't know what you needed. Because, I mean, men don't talk like you want them to. And y'all don't tell us, you know, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So I just really didn't know what you needed. And I wanted to be there for you. So I was just trying to be there the best way I could. Because my thing was, okay, so he talking. So let me just be quiet and listen because he is talking.
I guess that the idea of I'm just going to be quiet and let him talk.
Oh, I do that. Just to get back to that, I didn't know how to support you. I did what I could, and I just wanted to be there in any way because it was just really hard to see you go through that. The disappointment and the frustration with that was really tough.
Yeah. But I do remember that by that third time, I turned my phone off. I didn't want to talk to anybody. People were calling me. I don't know how they found out that this right here is time for the bar exam, because I'm from the country. We're from the country, and they don't know anything about the doggone bar exam. And we're in the testing, and we're in the get the results back months later. But I do know that I didn't even know I passed it. You called me and told me I passed it. You checking out the bars. I understand you worked in a law office. So, I was very excited. It was the nerves. And then I had to get myself together. And then I went and told my family what happened.
Yeah.
But I will say, I told my mom, don't call me. When the results come out, do not call me. I'll give you a call when it's time for me to talk to you because I may not do well. And I don't want it to be where I feel obligated to now tell you while I'm trying to process it. That was a difficult time. But, I'm grateful that we went through it together, not just me trying to do it on my own.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you pass, it's the dollar bills, right?
Yeah, that's what they thought. And all that is more of a graduation to the next set of problems.
Yeah, you're right. Because you looked for jobs.
I have looked for jobs.
Really?
I didn't want to work for anybody else. I knew that when I was in law school, I did not want to work for anybody else.
Did you just do it to appease me?
No, I did it to appease myself because I felt as if that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I was putting them out, but I know I didn't want the jobs. I was going to interviews and I didn't really want the job. And hopefully, I hope that it did not come across that I did not want it, but I did not want them because I know that, and I knew at that time also that I'm not built to work for anybody else. There are a lot of problems that come with being your own boss, being the business owner and all that. I would trade the employee lifestyle for the owner problems any day.
So you did have a decision to make because you went on the interviews. How long was that, 6 months? I feel like it was 6 months. Or was it
6
shorter?
months before.
Like from the time you
passed the bar and
passed the
opened my
bar.
own office.
Yeah.
It was a month.
I feel like we went to New Orleans.
Yes, for me to be sworn in, I think it was in May.
Yeah, and you opened up June.
And I opened up in June.
Well, why do I think it was 6 months?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It was 6 months before we brought some money in, maybe, because we were living off my credit card at that time. Opened up a business account and got a credit card, and my office was paid for out of that credit card. So yeah, that's the genesis of our marriage, our first 10 years at least.
You tying it up on the bill?
Yeah.
That's it? At year 10, that's when we bought the house. No, we didn't buy the house at 10. It was like 14. So what would you say would be a piece of advice that you would have for someone in those beginning stages?
Well, I would probably tell them to hang in there because it's going to be difficult. It's supposed to be difficult. You don't have a baby without labor. And so this is just a part of it. And if you are willing to go through the labor, the baby will come. And so I think it's important that they just make sure that the person that they're with is the person that they're willing to go through this hard time with, because there's going to be struggle. It's very rare that you are in a situation where everything is already laid out for you, especially if you're attempting to be a trailblazer. If you're going to be a trailblazer, in most cases, you have no actual person in front of you that have done it before. And so you're going back and forth, trial and error. You're trying to get to a particular place that you've never seen before. So stick-to-itiveness is one of the most important things, and grab hold to one another and make sure that's the person that you want to go through this struggle with.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's good. I guess I would say, just from my perspective, going through that time with you, you just have to trust the person that you're with. And I know that's difficult for some people, but you have to trust that, like, you're leading the way and find ways to support throughout that. And then even during those times where you're in school and you're working and I was at home with Trey, I didn't like it. It was hard. I was bored, and sometimes I just felt alone. But I had to kind of remind myself that it's only temporary. We're working on a goal. So it's not going to always be like this. So I knew that if I trusted you, and of course trust God, but if I trusted you as my partner and trust that we're going together, I learned to kind of turn to you instead of turn away from you. Because a lot of times when you get lonely and you feel isolated, you tend to kind of isolate yourself. So I wanted to turn to you And then I learned how to occupy my time. So I filled it with doing things with our son. I filled it with doing things at church so that it wouldn't be so difficult when you weren't home. But I knew that it was temporary. I guess that's my piece of advice.
To just understand that it's a part of it.
Yeah, it's a part of it. And you just have to trust the person that you're with. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode where we talked about the early years of marriage.
See you soon on
The Journey of Us.